Good morning. So I'm going to cheat and use notes because I was given like a tight 15 minutes and I want to make sure I don't miss anything. So jumping right in, consumers are making choices based on the values of a company. I think this is really important for us to be mindful of. I think it's relevant to us as the evangelists of our own brands and also as the marketing vehicle that the other major brands are choosing to distribute and talk about their products. So, the majority of consumers, and I think this is increasingly true as millennials come up and the next generations, they're going to pay more for brands that are perceived to have positive impact on society. You can see other statistics here, and it's really that impact, that societal impact, that social impact that I want to talk about today. And really, how do we begin to have conversations, authentic conversations with our users, with our customers, with our readers, our audience, about our values as a company? And what are those values, and what should they be? And, how do you take a position on those values without swinging too far to one side or the other side and alienating half the country? So our product is words. And what I've heard over and over again in my tenure at Dictionary is, your product is commoditized and, just do what you can with a commodity product. I don't think that's true, not for a moment. So really, what we've found, what we've learned by looking at our data, is that words are far from commoditized. Words have this deep emotional relationship with our audience. Both the words they use, the words they hear being used around them, creates a reaction. So just a couple of examples here. The thing that we've seen in our data over and over again that is so compelling, that has really given me great conviction about that, is trends. So misogyny being a great example. When the Me Too movement emerged at the end of last year, we saw just these massive spikes in lookups of the word misogyny. It's kind of sometimes very serious. It's also sometimes very fun. So when Beyonce and Jay-Z named one of their children Rumi, people had to run to the internet to look up, what does Rumi mean? And we don't actually have a definition for that word, but we could see that people were curious. So, we actually exist as a brand, as a company. Our product exists right at the intersection of those social moments, those social and cultural moments where people are trying to find meaning. They're not coming to us just to look up the definition of a word. They're coming to us and they depend on us and the authority we have to understand the meaning in a context of an event or a moment or something that matters to them. I was talking to someone at dinner last night and I gave the example of our top 10 lookups are words like love, happiness, beautiful, helpful, angry, sad. And it's like, well, don't you know what those mean? Don't you know the definition of those words? Why are you coming here to a dictionary to look those up? Sorry, I gotta make sure I hit everything. So, what we found is people are coming to us in moments to try to understand those meanings. And our words, the words we choose to use as an authority on words, when we choose to use a word, it carries with it great responsibility and great impact. And I would remind you all, and I would encourage you all to think very deeply and with a sense of responsibility about what social impact you're having in the world and what social impact the brands that you're marketing are having in the world. So media impacts people's perception of the world. It impacts their relationships with others. Financial products impact our ability to accumulate wealth. Any food or restaurant product is going to impact people's well-being. Any consumer packaged good is going to impact the environment that we're living in. Our products have social impact, and we need to own that. And here's some examples of how we, through conversation with our audience, have had great social impact. And it could be something really fun, like the Kit Kat one I just love. So this was a conversation where this woman had posted a picture of her boyfriend taking a bite out of a Kit Kat. And we all know that's not the way to eat a Kit Kat. So we just posted the definition of the word break off, which is really how you should eat a Kit Kat and maybe what you should consider doing with a man who eats his Kit Kat that way. So that was fun, and it was, there was a social conversation about what's the right way to eat a Kit Kat. It could also, again, be quite serious. So there's this comedian who posted a comment that being a straight white male was the new N-word. And we felt a deep sense of responsibility to remind people that the N-word is actually quite offensive. That turned out to be our most viral tweet. So this happens really organically. This is quite the opposite from a group of people getting in a room and saying, what are our values and what are we going to have a conversation about? This is really us seeing where our audience is engaging, what they're engaging about, and really following their lead and being willing to take a stand and reflect something that we have authority and that we have subject matter expertise on, and reflecting that back to them. So we ignite conversations and legitimize those cultural movements. I think all of us, I was thinking about Rolling Stone and just the legitimizing impact you have on Cardi B to say, you know what, you have an audience, but we can also elevate you to this other audience. And the conversation that can then follow about that, about her impact on society. That's just an example, but in media, we all, in some way, bring legitimacy to things that are going on and the things that we're choosing to write about and comment on. And this can actually be quite serendipitous. So just as a case study, what we found is that as we've developed our presence and our ability to engage with our audience, we often get inbound interest from major brands saying, you know what? How do we have that conversation too? How do we take this notion of a word that can really crystallize a moment, a person, a brand, a product in what that word means to people? So this is just a little case study of some work we did with Adidas and a very serendipitous moment. So is there any basketball fans in the room? Okay, a couple. Does anyone know who Donovan Mitchell is? Because this was an education for me. So there was this controversy last year around the Rookie of the Year nominations, and Donovan Mitchell was an amazing player. There was this other amazing player, Ben Simmons. They were both nominated. There was controversy over who was really a rookie. And because Ben Simmons, it turns out, had been on a team the prior year. He just hadn't played. So Donovan Mitchell is one of Adidas's athletes. They created a T-shirt for him, a hoodie for him, with our definition of the word rookie. And it sparked this amazing debate about what it means to be a rookie. We then capitalized on that with Adidas. We promoted it through our social channels. We leveraged our relationships with press outlets. They produced T-shirts, which they then sold. It became the fastest-selling T-shirt that the basketball division had ever sold. And all in all, we generated 91 million of impressions that elevated their brand, that elevated Donovan Mitchell, and really elevated us by association with this conversation. So that was fun, and we're doing more work like that. So finally, what was my last note? I'm impressed I got this far. So what was my last note? I forgot the end. So how did we do this? It was actually really quite simple. There's two people on my team who I trust. I trust all of my team, but two people who I trusted with this exercise. Shit. I trust my whole team. There were two people in particular who I trusted really got our brand. They're deeply steeped and well-versed in our brand, and they also got the responsibility and the authority that we bring to the table with respect to the impact of our words and our ability to reflect words back to our audience. And we just let them go for it. Every now and then they reach out to me and say, what do you think about this? And I'm like, you know what, let's stay away from the confirmation hearings. Like, I want so badly to comment on that, but let's not. But for the most part, they have free reign, and the reason it works is because they're just reacting to things that our consumers are already talking about. And I think it works because I would want to say maybe 10 times over the course of the last 2 days, someone has said to me, oh my God, I love your Twitter feed. So that's it. Thank you.
Liz, thank you very much. We have time for a couple of questions. If anybody has a question of Liz about how she's executing this and the two people that she trusts. I'm kidding.
Are
you getting any negative feedback from other advertisers? Is there any pushback? Because we were just, Tom from Scripps was just talking about the benefits of being neutral and middle of the road when it came to advertising.
In truth. We actually are 100% programmatic in terms of the media. Really children, where we named the word of the day SOS in conjunction with a campaign